LaGrande Live TV, it's Brianna Troutman, and I am here in Goat Paradise. I'm here with owner of Grande Ronde Dairy, Stephanie Rovey, and she is here to talk to us about her incredible dairy operation and what she has going on. Stephanie, can you tell us about where we're at right now and what's happening?
Welcome, LaGrande. So this is the first commercial dairy in Union County in over 30 years. We are the only grade A dairy in Union County at this point in time. We ship milk commercially to Laura Chanel Chev, which makes cheese and yogurt products that come right back up here to Union County. They can be found at Safeway and at Bella. And we're happy to be your one and only dairy in the county.
So Stephanie had a cheese tasting after goat yoga today, and let me tell you, the cheeses are incredible. So you're definitely going to want to go down to Safeway and Bella's and get some of those cheeses. So we are here in her barn, and we're down here in the section with the milking herd. Stephanie is going to tell us about this section and what's going on.
Sure. So I wanted to let people have a chance to look at the milking herd and see some of these mamas and babies. We both dam raise and bucket raise babies. So that means if a mother is happy and willing to take her kid and we feel like she's doing a really good job at it, we'll leave those baby boys with her. If we feel like they're in jeopardy or she really isn't giving them the attention that they deserve, then we will pull the kids and they get raised on milk, fed 3 times a day off of a lamb bar. That way we can guarantee that every baby is getting the attention that it deserves. Does typically will have 2 to 4 kids. We've even had one have 5 this year, and sometimes that's just a little too much for them, or they'll pick one that they like more than the others. So mortality is not acceptable to us, so we make sure that we fill in the gaps, we intervene, and we do a really good job so that we don't lose any of those little adorable babies. I get a lot of questions about the material on this barn. This is called the ClearSpan brand barn. It's a fabric structure. It's got a lot of natural light and transparency. We built it purposely to let a lot of natural light in and a lot of ventilation. If you notice, the sidewalls come down, so when the temperatures are beautiful and the wind isn't blowing in Union, all of these sidewalls drop down and they get a lot of natural ventilation and light. People ask us a lot if these goats are allowed outside. There is going to be outside access allowed at some point. But really, when they've got everything that they need inside, they are not super keen to venture outside. So even though we will, at some point, allow them to go out, there's several different reasons why we like them contained. Number one, they can't pick up parasites outside. They don't pick up worms. Therefore, we don't have to worm these animals. Number two, they stay inside on beautiful straw beds. They don't pick up mud or dirt. So we don't have to use a chemical pre-dip at milking. We can just put the units directly on. And number three, when they're contained like this, we get to manage their waste. So we dictate that it doesn't go into a watershed. The animals aren't out in a ditch. They aren't out anywhere where nitrogen and manure are going to mix in a water supply. We designate where that manure gets spread based on soil samples that we pull to look at nutrients in all of our ground. So there's a few different reasons why we like them contained, but as summer ventures on, they will have some outside access. I was going to introduce you to a few of our breeds that we milk here too. This one is really funny. I get the most questions about this breed. This is called a La Mancha, and no, we do not cut the ears off this goat. This is the only U.S. derived breed in existence, and it's called a La Mancha. We have a lot of other combinations, so we milk Saanens, Nubians, Sables, Alpines, Toggenburgs, and they all just have a lot of different physical characteristics, but this is probably the funniest looking one and the one that we get the most questions about.
So Stephanie is going to show us what these little guys are eating.
So we're fortunate enough to be able to grow all of our own forage for what these guys eat, and because of that we have a highly forage-based diet, not a lot of pellet and concentrate. And we like to mix it up because they get bored eating the same thing, feeding after feeding. So what I'm holding here is a triticale hay. and it's actually a haylage. We ensiled it. The bales are wrapped at about 40% moisture, and an anaerobic fermentation process occurs, and it allows the palatability to just be amazing on this stuff. And if you look right there, they absolutely love it. Some of the other different forage that we feed during the day is alfalfa hay. So it's that leafy green stuff right there. We grow all of this ourselves. We also like to mix things up with a forage pea blend. So it's like a grass forage pea, and actually has the little pea pods in there, and they absolutely adore it. But the big thing on goats is that they're browsers, not grazers. So they like to have a really wide variety of diet, and we don't want them to get bored with what we're serving them, because we want them to be happy and eating constantly. So we like to mix up what we serve them on this buffet. We can control the quality of it, and we can make sure that it's absolutely perfect for what a lactating ration should have in it.
So we are here in the Rotary, and Stephanie is going to tell us about the milking process and what all happens in this magical building. Stephanie?
So this is actually the first GEA goat rotary in the United States. It's very automated. It's very technologically advanced, I guess you would say. So goats will walk through this alley right here, and the sensors open the gates. They load onto the rotary, which is constantly in motion. Grain is dispensed. The only place that grain is fed here is in the parlor. Once the doe puts her head down, the stanchion will lock. And at that point, the person working right here at this station can cup the goat. We put the inflations on and start milking. The meters that are at the top of the rotary right there are a flow meter, and so they will measure the amount of production on a doe, and they will also determine when it's time to take the unit off so that no animal is over milked. For their udder health, we really want to make sure that those units come off in a timely manner, otherwise it can cause damage to the end of the teat. So this takes all of the human error out of that process. It's an automatic takeoff, so once the flow rate subsides, the unit will automatically be taken off on the backside. Because we are so clean going into the milking process, we don't have to have any prep going on to this. The goats are just cupped immediately. On the backside, we do use an iodine post-dip. It's a barrier post-dip that protects the opening of that udder, since the muscle there at the end of the teat is actually a muscle that'll stay open for about 20 minutes after the milking process. And so to prevent bacteria from getting up, we will use an iodine-based post-dip on the backside. So this entire milking process takes 2 people, and right now it takes from start to clean up to finish everything, it takes about 2 hours total. And that's twice a day. This is the bulk tank room. This is where the milk is actually stored. This is a 5,000 gallon bulk tank, and this was a huge jump for us because in our old facility we had a 1,000 gallon bulk tank. So part of the reason we went so big is because winters here in Northeast Oregon can be unpredictable and kind of cruel, and we want to make sure that if the truck can't ever get up here from California, that we are not dumping milk because we don't have room to store it. So this 5,000 gallon tank will do us for a long time. Today's pickup is a Saturday, and so we'll probably have about 1,500 gallons going out today. I cannot foresee in the near future that we would ever fill this 5,000 gallon tank, but it's just nice to have the extra space. Everything in this room is fully automated. One of my favorite parts of this room is this PLC right here. This is an automated system that tells us all the time by touchscreen what's happening. So right now I can tell you that the milk temperature is 37 degrees. That milk has 4 hours after a milking to get under 40 degrees, and it has to stay there. So if anything ever starts acting wrong, we get alerts, we get texts. It lets us know right away what part of the system is in jeopardy, what's failing, and what's not right. So right now everything looks good, and we can tell you what all of the different temperatures are sitting at the moment. We can look at the wash cycle from this morning. We can look at the temperature of the hot water that went through there. We can see that everything was finished. This is just a really good recording of what happens. And it's not the old school kind of pen and paper and chart on a wall. It's everything that's completely logged so that any inspector can get in here and see what's happening at any point in time. So we are inspected monthly by the state of Oregon. We have an annual federal inspection, and our milk is tested every pickup for things like antibiotic residue, components, and bacteria count. So I get a report every week about what is happening within the milk line, what is happening within our goats. The other cool thing with this system is that the electronic ID that every animal has will let us know a lot about her herd health and about her production. So I can see morning and night how much milk every single individual made, and if that changed, and if she needs us to come look at her for any reason. It will also give us the conductivity of the milk, which lets us know a lot about the health of the udder and the bacteria count of the milk that's sitting in there. So we are really invested in technology here, and we see that it can really help us be as professional as we can possibly be and really keep tabs on what's happening with every animal.
So one thing that I've noticed just being in here is that it's really quiet. I mean, except for the sound of happy munching goats. You don't hear them crying or anything. I mean, it's a really clean operation. It doesn't smell like, it's just a lot of happy, healthy goats. Hi, Grande Live TV. So this is Brianna Troutman on site at Grande Ronde Dairy, wrapping up.